How will staffers with NFL backgrounds adjust their player evaluation metrics when scouting high school prospects and younger college players in the portal? How do you think that goes?
You know, I don't think it's that different. I just don't. I mean, traits are traits. And when you're scouting high school players, in a lot of ways, it's easier than scouting for the pros, because a friend of mine who's done he's been a one of the guys that has run a scouting service that all sorts of FBS and FCS programs have subscribed to in the state of Florida and the Southeast for years. And his take on this is like, look, if you see a legit like Power 5 guy out on the field, 5-star, 4-star, just even a Power 5 out on the field, my grandmother can recognize that guy. I mean, that guy's
Those
obvious.
dudes are different. Yeah, they're different.
Those dudes are just flat out different than the other guy. And if you go to a game and you have to ask who the guy you're scouting is, then you move on to the next guy, right? So high school scouting in that respect is kind of easy. Then it's just a matter of sorting to the kind of player, the kind of traits, the kinds of bodies that you're actually going after. And the biggest thing, and this is the hardest thing, and this is one of the hard things, I was talking to a friend of mine who played in the NFL for 10 years or so not long ago, and we were talking about one of the things that NFL teams have to figure out early on when they're doing scouting, and one of the hardest things for NFL teams to figure out is, how is this guy going to respond when you start cutting him big checks? How much of his drive, how much of what made him that guy in college just sort of evaporates once he starts to get that kind of money? That's one of the things NFL guys have to figure out. Now college teams are having to figure that out with NIL. So the NFL guys are actually used to trying to make that evaluation, first of all. The other thing, though, that you're trying to evaluate when you're dealing with high school guys is how tough is this guy? What motor does he have? And that's the thing. If I know one thing about Michael Lombardi, the thing that is going to be number one on his trait list, like once you get to, you've got certain boxes you have to tick athletically just to be on the list. The guys that they're actually going to target, I can tell you what the number one trait's going to be: toughness. They're going to go after guys that they think are tough SOBs. That's the number one thing that Michael Lombardi believes in. You find somebody that you don't want to get into a bar fight with. That's who you want on your team. Now, you want him to be a disciplined tough, but you want that guy to be the guy that you that you want to be in a fight with.
Absolutely.
There you go.
But I said we get out of here in an hour. We got 4 minutes. Development for this staff when it's full and complete versus development in the previous staff. If anything we talked about over and over and over again that was a ding on Mac Brown was not identifying star talent. It was developing and evaluating and having talent that actually produced on the field.
And having an elite quarterback.
And having an elite quarterback. You still get eight or nine around there out of an elite quarterback. But your thoughts there, people are asking about the culture change, and we'll see. But it's hard not to imagine, given what we do and don't know, that things have changed significantly. To Greg's point earlier in the show, I'll let you wrap us just kind of talking about that.
As far as development goes, I'm going to want to wait to see the whole picture before I start talking about those pieces of it. I think one of the things that Belichick is going to need, and this is probably going to come as news to him, I'm just sharing this wisdom with him. He needs somebody that can develop a quarterback. He needs a good quarterback coach. So that's one of the things I'm going to be looking for and examining that guy. And it won't surprise me if he has a quarterback coach. In other words, Kitchens not be the quarterback coach. or at least have somebody on staff like a Clyde Christensen type that can work exclusively with the quarterback on those things that he needs to know.
They should frankly keep Clyde around if they can.
Yeah, I think he's taken another job. Last I heard, he had moved to another position somewhere. I might have that wrong, but that's what I think I heard. But somebody in that role that he's got his arm around the quarterback's neck all the time, pointing out, this is what you need to be doing here. This is what you need to be doing here. Your footwork is off here. You need to do a little bit better on progressions. Those kinds of just always in the quarterback's ear, where the quarterback can also use that guy as a constant resource. I know something's not right. Can you help me figure it out? So that sort of development, I think we're not going to be able to evaluate until we have the complete picture. And as far as the other types of development that goes on, who's going to be the offensive line coach? What is his track record in terms of developing talent? So certain positions that we don't know enough about yet, it's very difficult to make that decision about the development of this staff's approach they're going to take and the approach that Mac Brown took. I think for a lot of things, Mac Brown was operating out of the CEO mode. He would get information from this guy, that guy, put it all together, make a decision. I think Belichick is probably going to lean on his own opinion of things, or at least give his opinion of things at least as much credence as he does those working for him. So that part will be different.